Good evening. Thanks for joining us. So every 2 years, the state of Wisconsin has to decide where to spend its money. And this year, it's putting some toward cleaning up those forever chemicals called PFAS. It's expanding affordable housing, and it's funding public schools for the great grandkids of Wisconsin residents. That last part, the 400 years of funding, was not in the version the Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers got last week of the bill. What he got was an increase in the public school budget of a couple $100 per pupil in each year for the next 2 years. But 2 years wasn't what Evers wanted to do. So he took his red pen like a scalpel, vetoing a couple of digits and a hyphen to extend that funding for generations. And chances are you have questions like we did. One of them being, how is this possibly legal? We wanted to know as well, so Kent went to find out.
Yeah, Jen, I took those questions to our resident Supreme Court and political science expert, Tim Johnson with the University of Minnesota. And it turns out this level of veto pen editing wouldn't really be possible anywhere outside of Wisconsin.
With a legislative trifecta in Minnesota, Governor Walz certainly didn't need a line-item veto this year, but it was still on the table here and in these 44 states across the country. But in almost all cases, line-item vetoes are what they sound like, giving a governor limited power to strike lines or sections of bills they disagree with. And then there is Wisconsin.
There is a line-item veto plus in Wisconsin, and you, even as a Wisconsin resident, might not know that.
Wait, what did you call it?
A line item veto plus. That is something I just made up off the top of my head.
I was going to say, it sounds like
really
a streaming service.
Right, but that's, yeah, it does sound like a streaming service, but that's really what it is. Not just cutting out line items that a governor doesn't like, but cutting out words and numbers to the point where a governor has a lot of power over what is written into law.
Governor Tony Evers exercised that power 51 times before signing the 2-year budget yesterday. He did so by chopping $3.5 billion in Republican income tax cuts all the way down to $175 million. Yet that is far from the biggest change.
I have also used my broad veto authority to provide school districts with predictable long-term increases for the foreseeable future.
Evers locked in those increases by taking his pen to a 2-year, $325 increase in per pupil funding that would have expired after the 2024-25 school year. And he did so by vetoing the 20 and the hyphen to transform the end date to 24-25.
Are there any limits to this in Wisconsin? Because it seems like you can change the whole meaning of whatever's passed.
You can 100% change the entire meaning of what is passed, but to do so, you have to be very creative. You cannot strike out letters of a particular word, so you have to cut full words at any one time.
Wisconsin voters banned those so-called Vanna White vetoes with a constitutional amendment back in 2000 to prevent a governor from using individual letters to craft entirely new words.
So I am no elite legal mind. That's why we're talking to
Fair
you.
enough.
But he is striking out individual digits to make a new number.
So state law, and again, the state Supreme Court affirmed you can strike out numbers. The other thing that can be struck out is grammatical marks.
Wisconsin voters did also ban the so-called Frankenstein veto back in 2008 after former Governor Jim Doyle struck hundreds of words across multiple paragraphs to create one new sentence that steered hundreds of millions of dollars away from the transportation fund it was intended for.
So he made the law essentially say the exact opposite of what the legislature had passed. This is going to go well beyond that if it really stands for 400 years.
Do you imagine this one might be going to court?
Probably not. I mean, this is a power that's been used for darn near 50 years, back to the early 1970s, by both parties, governors of both parties. Tommy Thompson was famous for using this additional part of the line item veto. It's most likely just going to stay exactly where it is, and education will be funded with these increases for the next 400 years.
There you go. Wisconsin Republicans, by the way, slammed the governor's vetoes as expected yesterday, saying he used his power to implement his own liberal tax and spend agenda. But Johnson says that's about as far as they're likely to go because they don't have the 2/3 majority needed to override that veto, Jana.
I have a lot of questions.
Still?
I mean, just basically, why hasn't the Wisconsin legislature fixed this? This is ridiculous.
Well, again, it's kind of that political gamesmanship that both parties have used. And even in the Republican statement yesterday, they said he exercised the supreme power of that veto pen. They didn't say he can't or that we're going to challenge it. I think it's just something both sides kind of understand. At this point, too, it has to go to the voters and change constitutional amendments. And you need to have super majorities to kind of make all this stuff stop.